Hope you enjoyed that, Alistair Mitchell Sensei. As I said beforehand, we had a great conversation afterwards. Kind of chatting away. We chatted for about an hour after that. I wish we'd kept the recording going. It was our first time giving an interview, but so we were a bit nervous doing it, weren't we, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And we were kind of, especially of all the people to ask. So yeah, it was good. So we've got some cracking interviews coming up in the next few weeks. Some top UK karateka. So we're kind of speaking to people from different kind of areas and backgrounds. So it's not just kind of our wheelhouse. So Sean has the news this week. So we're going to have a news segment every week. And it's been kind of difficult because obviously as the world crawls out of COVID, there's not that many events. But we're going to pass to Sean. Yeah. And it's over to you, Sean, with the news and weather.
Today we have sun. As Liam said, obviously now the world's starting to come out of lockdown and out of restrictions. There's not so many actual upcoming events. So if there is something you guys would love us to give a little mention, please let us know. We are trying to obviously keep this not a kind of biased on affiliations and stuff. So please let us know. Send them into the kind of email or via any of the other side. Any of these at the bottom. Okay, upcoming, we've got the JKS Spring Seminar this weekend and the weekend of the 8th and 9th of May for America. This weekend is Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, Oceania, and Asia. All right, some of these guys are booked on to do that, so I'm looking forward to that. Also this weekend, the HDKI have an online seminar with Peter Constantine Sensei, Scott Langley Sensei, and JD Swanson Sensei. And Richard Amos Sensei, who's got a seminar this Sunday, also on the 26th. Obviously, please feel free to contact them. The seminar, we don't get sponsored for it. It's just the kind of
for the three you picked, the most politically diverse ones you picked there, Sean. It's like
as I said, I was trying to find some events this week just to kind of keep you guys up to date, and it's great to see this stuff. We see kind of local competitions coming out and for kind of booked in at the end of the year. A couple of competitions that we've attended in the past have competitions coming up at the end of this year, so I'm looking forward to getting back to some sort of normality. And as you say, guys, the kind of big events this year are the Olympics. There's one more qualification round for people to get qualified to compete in the Olympics, and that's in Paris on the 11th and the 13th of June. So we're going to go there, and we're going to. So yeah, that's the 11th and 13th of June in Paris, and that's the last chance for people to qualify.
Is it the wild card, they call it? I think it's the wild card qualifications, isn't it?
The wild card qualifications, that's correct, yeah. Those who have already kind of qualified, some big names in the under 75 kilogram for Kumite male, Ken Nishimura, Rafael Agaev, Luigi Busa, and Stanislav Haruna are all in the one category, so that'll be interesting to watch. There's some really big names in the sport world.
Is Rafael Agaev qualified?
Yes.
That makes old guys like me feel happy, because he is. But he's been an absolute force of nature, is he not?
Yeah, no, he's I think late 30s, I think, if that's right, might be wrong. Okay. But yeah, he's been competing for longer than I think I've been alive, to be honest. Yeah, so they've got that. And I'm joking, I'm not that young anymore. In the female event, you've got Mio Miyahara and Angelica Torligi as well in the same event, so it'll be interesting to kind of see some of these big names go up against each other on the big stage on the Olympics. In the kata events, you've got kata specialist Damien Quintero and Sandra Sanchez as well. They're competing for the kind of male and female kata events, and their katas are spectacular.
Sandra Sanchez is a machine, isn't she?
Yeah, if anybody's ever seen her do any kind of training montage, she knows what she's doing, and she's awesome at it. But as I said, guys, if there's any events coming up, please let us know. We'll do our best to kind of put them out. We'll keep looking every week for events.
Yeah,
but as I said,
as Sean said, it's an all styles thing. Although we have our background, we're not going to not share your stuff just because we're definitely not doing this. All our views on here are our own and are not those of any association.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get stripped of our grades. But yeah, so feel free, as Sean says, to put that and that kind of in.
Sorry, I've just got one. There's one more bit of news, guys. Sorry, it's only. Just quickly moving on to this, as we kind of touched on last week, there's a T-Rex on the loose in the town of Stupid. Fighting here, a young defenceless Yoshi the Ninja.
Those that are on Spotify and Podbean, I apologise.
For those that are on Podbean,
I just want to point out there's a social distance in place there.
For those that are on Spotify, and I was sharing a video of a T-Rex. We kind of touched on last week. Can
I just point out that I did what I had to do to keep my club going. All right, that's all I'm saying. It was
Anyway.
that standing street corners teaching Oizuki for crisps. It was.
So if anyone has any news and has spotted a T-Rex running about the streets of Sturton, please pass it to the authorities. And that's the end of the news for today. I'll catch you next week. Thank you.
Right, I'm just going, right, that's the Amazon delivery. I'm off. I'll catch you later. No.
For those guys that were on Spotify and Podbean and Amazon,
Go on to YouTube. Right, just go on.
have a really good YouTube.
I've very little credibility anyway, so losing it makes no difference to me.
Yeah.
You can see his face now.
Anyway, moving on with the last of the questions.
Well, we shared my video of me kicking the wall.
Wait a minute, that was a bit different. You kicked a wall. That was. I just put it in context. That's not meant like advanced class. All right, we were teaching like the tiny tots to keep them engaged and entertain them. All right, just for the record. And doing unsu in that is a real nightmare, by the way. Should I do that guy? Unsu in that was horrific. Moving on. We've got 2 more questions left. Can't believe you did that to me, Sean.
That was quite funny.
Alan Pollock, Aldo, our friend Aldo. Oh, this is a tough one. What has been your what's your favourite memory or memories throughout your years of training? What is your favourite memory or memories? Mark.
That is hard. I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. I'm normally knocked out when I'm on the mat, so I don't really remember much.
That's not.
One of the funniest things I probably think that I remember when I was competing was I was sparring with this one guy, and obviously where people get themselves into the zone. They'll have their hoodies over their gi, they'll have their headphones in their ear, and obviously they must be playing some Rocky or something like that, just trying to get themselves in the zone. And I remember I was sparring with this one guy, and he must have forgot that to take out his back then it was a Walkman, disc thing. He forgot to take it out. He had it actually tucked in his gi. And I remember I was fighting him, and I actually did him a washigeri and kicked his chest, and actually kicked and smashed the Walkman into his chest. And as it was, the referee called Yame, he just stopped like this, and he just opened up his gi top, and all these just bits of broken plastic just fell out onto the tatami. And for me, that was at the time was pretty funny. Obviously not for him, because that was about 100 quid down the drain there. But memory-wise, I think, the best feeling really is when you pass your showdown. I think is the best thing, the best memory for me. I mean, that was a few years ago, and I mean, you spend so long training for that, and you're really trying to get yourself in the mindset. And for me, passing my showdown was probably the best feeling for me. I don't know, it sort of has like a milestone, really, in karate, and that was for me the best. The day I passed my showdown, I would say it was one of the best memories for me. I felt like I was in the black belt club. So, Liam, I'll pass it on to you because I keep passing it on to Sean.
Too many, because he's that old.
Well, it was the day I dressed up as a giant inflatable thing. No, it was. I don't know. As you say, there's so. I've been very lucky. I've had quite a long and varied career, and we're grading third. Please don't post that again.
Is that
I think passing my third Dan in front of Yahara and Osaka, in front of a Japanese panel, because I'm a Shodan and Nidan were not in front of a Japanese panel. So doing that was when I felt that Sandan. I felt that I'd kind of, as you say, not joined the club, but I'd felt that I'd done it right. If that makes sense. I felt that, and I've graded since, and that's and all my grading since been in front of Japanese instructors. So I felt then that because there's so much work to get involved for that one, and so much prep done, and it was challenging. It was physically and mentally challenging, and that for me stood out. Getting piped out the time Scott, I think Sean was there. We get piped out to the World Championships, representing our country. That puts the hairs in the back of your neck up, or what's left of my hair. But going back to your point, we were at a competition years ago, Sean. Do you remember? We were. You must remember this. Just clicking on what you said, Mark. It's a kind of memory off the side. We were up to this competition. It wasn't far from where we were, so it was nice to be able to travel up. And Sean and I, there was maybe half a dozen of us competing that day with this. And there was a lad, as you said, walking around with a hoodie on, with the headphones on. You know this story, Sean? Is it coming to you? Yeah. And he looked like one of those self-defense guys we talked about earlier on. You kind of wonder, what's the issue, mate? You need to maybe one less coffee this morning. And he's walking about the place, and and at one point he was banging his head off the wall, and Sean and I were like, bloody hell, is he okay? And Sean went, I'm checking the
maybe he was doing
it's one of those ones that these people that has his name on his belt in English. So Sean kind of looked at the name of his belt and ran up to check the draws, and Sean came back going, oh, God, have you got him first round? He went, yeah. And I was like, yes. So Sean was like, I think he was walking about, was grilling at people, punching walls, and he was like, and I'm like, if this is going to get a bit tasty like this one. And Sean walked out, so they come out, they bow on, and Sean's looking quite nervous because he had the big tattoo down his neck as well. He looked like an absolute psychopath. And then he automatically, and I apologise for those on Podbean and Spotify, you won't see this. He then went, so it was Kamai, right, Hajime, and the guy just put his guard up like that. And I went, Sean, he's crap, go for it. And Sean just, the look in Sean's face, he just went, oh, I just malashed him, absolutely halved him. The boy dropped a knee and then ran away for the next 60 seconds. And it was just this fear and trepidation that it turns out you actually couldn't fight. But that was a funny memory that stood out for me. Sean, what about you? What's your kind of? I know it must be difficult for you as well. What do you pick?
Yeah, no, that's funny. He was doing the TikTok challenge before I made it popular. As Mark was going to say there, he was trying to get in. Yeah, I think, to be honest, for me, obviously passing black belt stuff, it was big. I love competing. Always loved competing. Traveling with the squad, we've competed with each other and against each other numerous times. I think the camaraderie for me is kind of memories. For me, traveling to Portugal for the World Championships, we were all successful. A team of 15 came away with 40 medals. So we all medalled that day, and the people who we travelled with as well, and some of the people aren't here anymore. Just memories from that. It really sticks with me, stuff like that. Alan, who asked the question, was actually there and part of that squad with us as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for that, obviously passing the black belt was a big thing. As you say, Mark, you've been from where you are a white belt, you work towards that black belt. So it was a big thing, and I always trained with my brother. So we always competed against each other and graded together. So doing that together as well, and I know you guys have graded together and graded against each other as well.
Oh yes.
So yeah, just that for me is that camaraderie, having training beside each other, competing with each other, competing against each other, grading. There is just so many memories, and you could spend the next hour telling stories of competitions.
We could do a whole, we've tried not to do that, haven't we? We tried
Yeah,
not to much
my
about it.
favourite memory, the trip to Portugal, because we arrived on the Monday and we weren't competing till the Saturday and the Sunday, and we were in Albufeira, which is it was a nice part right beside the beach. So we had a good fun few days just as a holiday, you know, which you don't get often if you're travelling to compete. You fly out on the Thursday night, Friday, compete on the Saturday or Sunday, and fly back Sunday night or Monday. Whereas with Portugal, it was a nice holiday as well. So yeah, for me that was a big memory that kind of stuck out. And as I said, on that trip, there's people who aren't here anymore, so obviously it kind of sticks a bit more. Yeah, so that kind of sticks and all as well. And all.
It's like we've all been to Japan as well. Been going to Japan, training at the Hombu in Japan with like Kanayama and Nagaki Yamaguchi. You know, you're training in the dojo with these people in Japan. I mean, how do you pick?
There's so many.
How do you pick one kind of standout memory? You know, you've got that. Get my fifth Dan. That was a massive achievement. You know, I never aimed for gradings, to be honest. I didn't grade for 12 years at one point. I was just didn't grade. I had to get dragged in at one point. I don't know if you remember, Sean. I was like, you were grading at the weekend. I'm like, oh no, I'm all right, I'm okay.
I think that's how it happened for a lot of us, to be fair, wasn't it?
Yeah, I never really chased grades like that. So it was, how do you pick? I do remember one memory of Mark and I grading for fourth Dan together, and Mark came over and said, because we were the only two going for fourth. See if you remember the way I do, Mark. And he was coming up and saying, listen, mate, excuse the accent, people. Listen, mate, you and me, right? Let's, few techniques, keep it clean. All right, mate, no worries, of course. Aye, okay. So I'm walking away. Now, bear in mind, Mark's like a foot taller than me. And then, I think it was Sid Tadris said, he wasn't it? He went like, Hajime, and then Mark tried to murder me. So I was bang. In my head, I went, you bastard. I was like, he's going to kill me here. So it then erupted. It just absolutely, feet and fists were flying. There's a photograph of this. I think my Yakizuki is landing as you kicked me right in the crackers.
That was a good shot.
Yeah. No, I did. It was a scrappy shot, and then it stops, and you're just bleeding from your. And obviously, a knuckle just made contact and just punctured the skull. It wasn't anything serious, but my control was fine. But see when you get kicked in the crackers and your body, your head going. And we were told beforehand, like, guys, watch your control. Please be careful. All right, this is a grading. It's not a fight, because I think they must have remembered our third Dan when we were rolling about the floor biting each other, because you and I were separated at our third Dan grading and told to calm down.
They were good memories.
And I'm like, oh God! But it was your. I just want to say for the record, you said let's take it easy. Was that you taking it easy, Mark?
Yeah, but that's how I win all my fights. What I do is, when I'm competing, I'll say, look, come on, let's just take it easy. Let's make it look good, and then I'll go straight in with a big kick to the showdown.
Best, and I was like, well, it was no. Oh my God! But yeah, that's a memory for you, Alan. Just don't listen to Mark if you're sparring him.
It was funny spectating, to be honest.
I was walking like a duck for about a week. So, the very first last question is from Stevie Mason Sensei, head of KWF Scotland. Hi, Stevie Sensei, how you doing? This is a good question, a loaded question. This one, I like this one. I like it. Do you train for longevity or for sporting success? Ooh, controversial. You words them so well.
Pass.
What do you train for?
Who's answering this one?
Mark.
Oh, chuck me in that deep end then. Very good question. Thank you, Steve. No.
He's frozen.
Yeah.
I train, for longevity. Frozen, all right? Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you now. You can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Yeah, sorry, just froze there. Yeah, so I don't really train for sporting for success. I train for. I just train for myself. I think for myself, I've been doing tournaments as a teenager and younger. And for me, that's sort of my like karate career with the tournaments there. I mean, I'm still going to compete, you know, but I'm not looking to be a world champion. And this, I'm just taking part in the fun of, you know, as we touched on earlier, you know, competitions is a small part of your karate. For me now, you know, I'm just training to pass on my knowledge to my students, and I want them to be, well, they will be better than me. You know, I'm sort of just putting everything that I have, all my knowledge, my skill into them, and then they can make that decision. You know what they want to do, and that's for me. You know, I as much as all of us would love to be, you know, a world champion and this, but I mean, I'm still going to try my best, give it a good go. But you know, my heart now at the moment is, I mean, my dojo is a fairly new dojo, and my heart is building that up and concentrating on that, and that's what I want to do. You know, I want to, you know, go down that route and that's where it might all change when I'm in the veterans or something like that. Think about it there, but for the time being, that's where my head is at.
Cool. Sean, longevity or sporting success?
No, I think we kind of touched on it earlier. I think if you are doing karate or training karate, then you do both, you know. But with regards to sporting success, it's only going to last so long, whether you're moving up a category or whether you're the next level of competitors come up and you can't get to that level, then obviously your sporting success is not going to be as long as your normal career. As Mark said, and we kind of touched on it last week, for us, karate is more than just a hobby. It's not a pastime. It's our life. It's our jobs. You know, it's not, and it's always has been. You know, I've tried rugby, I've tried kickboxing, I've tried football, and I'll enjoy them. But karate is something that I've loved and always have loved. And I think if you're training, then you should be training for longevity, because you should always, Mark, you said, trying to improve. You know, so it's not just chasing that next medal or chasing the next thing. I think training for longevity is very important, and you can get growth from that. You will improve more, I think, than what you'd be doing if you were just training for sporting success. I think overall, and then in the time, I think your karate will be better, in my opinion.
I think there's seasons. I think that if you, I mean, I'd never, don't be wrong, I've wanted to quit training sometimes. There's times in my karate career where when I was younger, I was like, I can't bother this anymore. I've had enough of it, or I've fallen out of love with it at times. There's times where my passion's gone for it, but
yeah,
it's that's I don't have that issue now, but certainly I went through a period where I was like, I really want to keep doing this. I think everybody's had that conversation in their head at some point. No, Sean, not you.
Honestly,
wait till you're dressed up as a giant inflatable dinosaur and go, you really start to question your life choices.
No, I think I know what you mean. When it comes to, because we're teaching now as well, we kind of said last week, where you kind of take that away from your own training and your own stuff, especially when we go back on Zoom. Yes, we were in front of the camera training, but as you say, you can fall out of passion with it. But
it comes and goes, you know. It's not. I've always loved it.
Yeah.
But for me, the reason I'm saying longevity, training for longevity, because I never really wanted to quit, if that makes sense.
No, of course.
You know, I maybe had injuries and I've had to dial down my training or whatever. You know, I've had a couple of bad nasty injuries in my time, but I maybe had to dial down my training. But there's not of it. Maybe the problem is I've never had any sporting success. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe you've actually got to be successful. But I've always trained for training's sake.
Yeah.
And if my karate was at a level where I thought I could take it out and put it on the road, as it were, at competition level, and that's when I've done it at different times of my career. I've never been really that consistent in my competition career, but I think that sporting success is maybe the shop window. You know, they're nice to see. People ask you what I've got. There's actually some medals and trophies in reception at my dojo, and it's not an ego box. It's purely to get them out the damned house, which is a nice complaint to have, that you've got that many that are in the road. But you know, it's to get them out the damned house and put them into perspective and get them. But yeah, for me, it's longevity. You have to. I think when you're younger, sporting competition is very important. I think it's essential to test yourself. But I think if you're teaching karate from a Kihon perspective, a kata perspective, and you're applying it properly, you have different seasons in your life. You have different seasons in your career. I'm kind of more late summer, as I like to think.
You're right.
No, I'm talking. I'm kind of like, August, September. I'm not like.
No, you're December and then came right back run again.
Kind of hot, kind of warm. Just.
Can I just say this is called That Karate Podcast, not let's give that old ginger guy a hard time. Can we just point that out?
I know, but it's just fun, isn't it?
I seem to spend a lot of time getting made fun of. But no, I think. Are you guys got anything you want to bring up? Anything else you'd like to discuss?
No, not really.
Well, it's been good. We've had some interesting questions, guys, so please keep them coming in. And we will do our best. Obviously, we had quite a lot of questions for the first kind of week, so we will do our best to go through them. We're just trying to keep these podcasts below 3 hours, because we could talk for days. So yes, we obviously just we do our best to keep it short and sweet and cover as many topics as we can.
Yeah, so all the questions there could have been topics for a week. I mean, I actually considered doing that. I actually keep them as topics, but if we didn't answer the question properly, didn't get the answer you wanted, if you have something you want to ask us for next week, please. If there's a guest you'd like to try us to get on, if you'd like to be a guest, get involved. Give us a wee message. Don't be shy. We'd like to chat to people. We want to speak to as many various people, trying to speak English, Liam, from different backgrounds in karate, not just our own wheelhouse. We want to hear different perspectives, different views. Disagree with us, agree with us, but we'd like to get you on and have a chat. Well, boys, that was number 2. Do you think it'll be a number 3? Think anybody's going to listen to this nonsense for a third week?
I think it's fun. I think it's great.
We're allowed to think that, but the real issue is out there. But yeah, this has been great. So this podcast is probably a bit longer than last week's, and I apologise because we've got a cracking interview in the middle of it. But
and it's been heavily edited as well, so
it's going to be. Let me tell you, this video's getting removed.
No, you can't remove that.
No, yeah, that's coming out. That is good. I'll be editing that out.
No, the T-Rex video has to stay in. It's only fair that we spoke about it last week. We spoke about it last week. It has to stay in.
It's horrific, honestly. You've got to have a sense of humour, haven't you? If you can't laugh at yourself, then I don't need to. My mates laugh at me all the time anyway. But guys, thank you so much again for being part of this. These guys have been do a lot of work behind the scenes to make this work. We will get back. We will see you next week, or we'll listen to us next week for number 3. And as Sean said, please send us any of your questions, or you want to get involved in the chat. Join us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. It's all happening. Podbean. And please like our Facebook page and get sharing. And we do have a couple other channels, but frankly, I haven't really filled them out yet. I've not really done much for them yet. But if you get us on there, please like and share and subscribe. Thanks very much for your time, guys. Thanks very much to you listening and watching. I apologise for the gratuitous pictures of some guy I've never heard of dressed up in a giant inflatable dinosaur outfit. I believe you did that to me, Sean. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy your week. Have a fantastic weekend and stay safe and keep training. Os.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.